Well, I mean, it's outstanding getting on through the walk, and he's had really good at bats, especially in the series. He's had really good at bats, and and then just to read it. I mean, it's a good read. It's not an easy one when it goes between the catcher's legs, because you don't always see it right away, and then it goes between the umpire's legs. But he was heads up.
Second straight walk-off win against the best team in the American League. What did your team tell you about itself in the last 18 or so hours?
Well, I mean, we have the ability to bounce back. We're Brazilian, and you have to be in this game because you're going to go through unusual situations sometimes where you win games and you lose games, and you can't make too much of one game, and you got to bounce back, and that's what they did.
He ends up with a no decision, but you don't get to this situation without Pineda. How great was his slider? How impressive was he?
I mean, he was really good today. He gives up a home run to start the game, and then he shut him down after that. And this is a really good offense. This club scores a lot of runs, so I thought he was really impressive. It might have been, it probably was, his best start of the year.
When you look at what he's done in his last 6, an ERA of under 3, when he was maybe on the cusp of being removed from the rotation, how much has he remade himself and his season?
Well, I mean, he's bounced back too. I mean, he was going through a very difficult time, and sometimes it doesn't make sense. You try to figure it out. His strikeouts were up, and his mistakes that he was making were getting hit all the time. But he never stopped working, and he kept trying to improve himself, and he's on a good roll right now.
Wally.
Joe, I realize you have those 3 guys at the back end of the bullpen, but when a guy's pitching as commanding as Pineda is, do you ever consider maybe letting him go after the 7th and give him one of the more rest?
Sure, you consider it, but I also consider Dellin, Miller, and Chappie. And here's the thing. He's up around 95 pitches. It's a hot day. One mistake might cost you the game. He got a couple sliders up the inning before, and I'm really going to be questioning if I leave him in and he gives up a run, and I got Dellin warming up. So, I mean, I think you go with the fresh guy, an extremely dominant guy over the years here, and you take your chances that you're going to score 1 run in those 3 innings, and that's what we did.
Joe, obviously Didi had to deal with being compared to Derek last year, but you think this year he's been able to kind of forget about that comparison and the pressure that comes with it?
I think it took him about 2 months to get over that last year, is what it did. And then he realized that he just had to be himself. It's difficult. I've watched guys go through it here. I watched Tino go through it, replacing Donnie. And you've seen a number of guys have to do it here, and it's not easy. But he began to relax after the first month, and he got a little better in the second month, and then just continued to improve after that. And he's made a nice adjustment.
Laura?
It seems like there were times this season where you guys lived and died with the home run ball. Is it extra encouraging for you as a manager to kind of have that small ball approach in the 9th to win it?
Well, I don't want to tell you wrong, but we haven't hit nearly as many home runs this year. So I'm not so sure about that. But sometimes you have to execute little things to win games, and we had to do that. Didi set it up today obviously with his first home run and then a nice bunt. I mean, it's nice to have a guy that can do a lot of different things for you, and you have to win that way sometimes.
Jack.
Joe, the fact that you had Beltran as a pinch hitter today, what does that say about his availability in San Diego?
Not much. I told him a double's a single, a triple's a double, and if you hit it out of the park, you're allowed to run all the way around. So my guess is he won't be a starter tomorrow for us, but I figured that he could swing it, just don't run hard.
And I know there's a lot of baseball left, but when teams have successful seasons, they often look back and say, that was the series, that was the game, that was the period that got us going. How hopeful are you that these last couple of days might be that for the Yankees?
Well, I hope you're right. I hope it is. Obviously, we have a tough road trip, 3 cities, 3 different time zones, some long flights, and hopefully this is what really got us going.
Wally and Chad.
Joe, Alex with 2 hits off right-handers today. I realize it's only 1 game, but does it change your thinking about your usage of him going forward?
Well, I mean, I've always said that it wasn't that he wasn't going to play against any right-handers. I didn't say that. I think you have to evaluate. You also have to evaluate where Carlos is. I mean, there's a lot of things that we have to look at. So obviously he's not a starter the next 3 days, but we'll see where we're at after that.
Chad.
Joe, I understand you're obviously going for the one run in the ninth inning, but just because of the way Didi's hit lately,
Yeah.
is there thought there of letting him swing?
Well, yeah, I did it 2 innings before, but I wanted to give us 2 chances to drive in a run, to guarantee 2 chances of having. You know, he can hit in a line drive double play. He can hit a rocket to the second baseman. It turns into a double play. So I just wanted to guarantee that we had 2 chances. Yeah. Is it a guy that you want swinging most of the time? Sure.
Also, just wondering, does last night come up at all on the bench? I mean, as you're coming off this big ninth inning, here you kind of need another ninth inning. Does that even enter into a conversation?
Well, I'm sure it did amongst the guys, and I think the feeling of last night makes you feel that you can do it again.
Over to your left, Joe.
Joe, it seems like a lot of games this season, Pineda started strong. Started poorly, but then finished strong. Is there any kind of reason for that split, or?
Well, that's the case with a lot of pitchers. You know, I mean, how many times have we heard that you better get them early or you're not going to get them? So it's something that we've been working on with him too, just making sure that you have your stuff. But there are times where a guy will warm up and have a great warm up, and he walks 300 feet, and all of a sudden his slider, he can't find it in the first inning, and then it becomes important. So the big thing is that, you know, he does everything he can to get it going right away.
Up front here, Dan and Mark.
It was pretty dour after the rainout loss.
Sure?
What's the difference? What's the difference in feeling, I guess, after 2 games like this going forward?
Well, I mean, you feel a lot better about your club moving forward, that you know that they're able to bounce back, and that you played 2 games and you had the. I can look at these 4 games and say, okay, maybe we shouldn't have won yesterday's, but we had a chance to win the other 3, and we ended up winning 2. You know, it's 2-0 in the 8th. We don't make a couple plays in the 8th inning of game 2, and it turns into a blowout. So overall, I thought we played pretty well against this club. So the feeling should be pretty good in there.
It seemed like you felt things were slipping away a little bit after that rainout. You know, talking about the Orioles gaining in the division.
I mean, they've been winning every day, and I've said it many times. We need to win games because we got to make up ground.
Right behind you, Mark.
Joe, just to follow up on what you said before, there was probably a feeling amongst the guys on the bench in that ninth inning based on last night.
Well,
how was it?
I think so. Yeah.
How was it for you? Did you look at the ninth inning any differently after last night?
I felt good about us in the 9th inning. You know, we had a chance, a couple different chances early. I looked at, what was it, the 7th inning? We hit 4 balls on the nose and didn't really have much to show for it. I mean, Jake's ball, if it's over a little bit, is a double or a triple. Gardy's ball, if it's over, there's a run. Alex gets. So I felt good about our at-bats. We just needed to put some things together.
Anyone else? Thank you, Joe.